Yeah, that's Bob or Bill. Question? Yes, sir.
Two quick questions. One, when you fought Gracie, you were absolutely sure you were going to win before. I didn't know how you knew you'd be dominant.
Because I was fighting a guy older than me. Part of that. I just, spiritually, I just really felt that I was going to dominate in that fight.
And you did.
As I look back, I did do well. I thought I would really be dominant on my feet, not on the ground. When I fought Gracie at UFC 60, and we hit the ground, you'll see, if you watch the tape, you'll see me, I just kind of pause. And what's going through my mind is, here's Royce Gracie, the winner of the first couple UFCs, and blah, 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 never lost in the octagon. He's going to submit me with some move that I've never seen of or heard of before. So the first 30 seconds after we hit the ground, I don't do anything. Because I'm waiting for this magical move, you know, to happen. And after about 30 seconds, I thought, you know what? He's not doing anything that I've not felt before. So I go to do something, I like get a little positioning. I thought, man, I just got a little positioning here, and I kept testing myself. And after about 45 seconds to the first minute on the ground, I was confident. And I went to do. I had that straight arm bar. Did everybody remember the straight arm bar?
Yeah.
It was gross. Go ahead and go down.
Did you hear his arm pop?
No, I didn't. Everybody thinks I was being a nice guy, and I wouldn't. No, I was trying to break his arm. I just couldn't do it.
It's made of rubber, man.
So this is a straight arm bar, and see, I've got his Evans elbow here, and it's basically an arm bar, but I don't have the power of my hips. I've just got my power. This to me is kind of a wimpy tap out. You know, if I just wouldn't count that in a fight. I mean, Royce would have rather me broke his arm than to tap with that submission. It's just the way he is. So after I got this submission, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to waste my energy here, because I've got to use a lot of strength to do this. I said, I'm just going to float to something else. I really thought I was going to submit him after I was on the ground.
He wasn't doing anything, man. His arm was like...
So, I mean, that's why I gave that up. I floated around, and I ended up getting his back, and he ended up tapping from punches. But I worked out a lot before that fight. I was in shape before I even took the fight, to be honest. So, I mean, that was a big Matt Hughes. The fight was at 175 and not 170, so I was lifting weights like crazy. And it was one of those fights to where I don't care who was in the opposite side of the octagon, I was probably going to beat him that night. There's not a whole, I know I've had 50-some fights, and there's not a whole lot of times I can look back and think, I was going to win that fight. Didn't matter if it was, you know, Brock Lesnar against, you know, on the other side. I was just in a zone. That was one of two.
The second one was, how much is your twin brother involved with your training now? I know you guys are really, really close.
We are. We talk a lot. With my training, he's really not. He works two jobs. He's a farmer, and he drives a cement truck, union cement. I mean, he makes good money on both, but he's busy. He's a family of three, you know, so he's busy, and he doesn't travel with me to train whatsoever. What he'll do is he'll maybe come out and train with me, or train with me for maybe a couple days before the fight, and is there for fight time. So my fight's on Saturday. He might come Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or maybe even Saturday morning, and watch the fight with me, and then we'll leave and go home together.
I have a career question. How come in more recent fights you have been fighting Southpaw or switching to Southpaw? You haven't always been.
No, well, I started out fighting as a Southpaw. Southpaw is left-handed, for anybody that might not know that. And I wrestled all through high school and college in a Southpaw position. So I started fighting Southpaw because that's the way I was. Pat Miletich wanted to convert me to conventional, so then I did. So then I fought conventional. I think I won the world title as a conventional fighter, and then was conventional for a long time. And I switched to Southpaw to fight Matt Serra. Now, why would I look at my opponent and switch to Southpaw? To stay away from his strength. You're kind of right there, but I want Matt Serra's big punch is an overhand right, and I wanted to circle away from that, and I was wanting to circle into his hook, which he really didn't throw a hook. I wanted to circle right, and it's a lot easier doing that being a Southpaw. So we were just avoiding his big right hand because, you know, that's the one that hurt GSP.
Were you more comfortable striking in your traditional stance or your orthodox?
You know, I'm about, it really just depends on the opponent. And, I wrestle better as a southpaw, but I don't know. It just depends on probably who I'm facing. If I'm facing another southpaw, I'll probably go southpaw.
Like Vijay throws a lot of left hooks.
So yeah, so I was conventional for him because I wanted to circle into his right hand, which wasn't a good deal for me. But that's the way it goes. You know, that's one of those fights to where I was wanting to stay away from his hook because he throws a lot of hooks and that's his power shot. Usually his right hand is doing nothing but setting up his big hook. And yeah, it didn't work out well for him. He slipped that one in on me. He did good. He did good.
They brought you in to train with them after. So.
Yeah, correct. Because I always told Vijay that he's not as old as I am, but we're two of the older guys in the UFC, so we respect each other. And I've always said, hey, if you want some help doing something. And I went out there and trained with him. I showed Vijay the takedown that he took, Fitch down 2 or 3 times. That was what I showed. So I mean, it was worthwhile for him. When he got on top, the guy got in the draw. Down Vijay. If he just would have got off his back one time, they would have.
Do you think that fight was a draw, or do you think it should have gone to one guy?
I really don't think that was a 10-8 round. I had Vijay winning the first 2 rounds like the judges did, but then 2 of the judges gave Fitch a 10-8 in the 3rd round, and there was no damage done. Fitch didn't try and get out of the guard. I mean, it was. Yeah, and it was all light stuff. Now, Vijay did look bad afterwards, but still, he just didn't do anything to end the fight. So I think, but I'm probably biased. I probably thought Vijay won the fight because I thought he won the first 2 rounds. But then 2 judges gave it a 10-8 to Fitch, which I don't agree with.
How did you yourself, and as a traditional wrestler, and how do you teach wrestlers not to get over that fear of being on your back?
You know what? That was incredibly easy for me to get comfortable on my back, and the way I did it is when I started. Every time I started on my back, and that way it made me. I was going to start on my back and have at least a little time down there. Now I'm very elusive with my hips, and I can get up quick, and I've got some tips or some rolls and everything to stay off the ground, and I got submissions too. But I'm just as comfortable on my back as I am on top of somebody. But if I get on top of somebody, I get to wear on them. You know, people get tired underneath me because I'm able to use my wrestling and use my body weight to make somebody continually push on me and keep up on me. 4 minutes? Yes, sir.
Grappling, I always get in the front headlock position, but never saw what I could do.
Let me show it to you?
With like Almeida, but that showed it.
I'm going to have you face this way. If you can't see, by all means, get around. Guys, this is a move. This is the move that I showed Jeremy Horn. I showed this to Jeremy Horn probably 99, 2000, and he still has not been able to master it. For me, I've been, no, it's a technique move, but it's a feel. You know, I'm really feeling my opponent and adjusting to my opponent. But I'll try and teach you, and it's not me not trying to show you something. It's just a hard. It's hard to put into words and hard to describe. It's just a feel. You got to feel it and really. And I'm gonna have you face this way if that's all right. Oh, no, you're correct. Right there. Stay right there. Now, I want this arm to go underneath, and what I'm gonna do. It's a blood choke. I'm gonna choke this side off right here. Is the main side I'm gonna choke, but yet he's also gonna get some pinch from over here as well. So when I knocked Almeida down. Almeida did me a favor because he reached for me. He went down, hit both knees, he saw me coming, and he went like this. Okay? See what he just did with his arm? He gave it to me. If you ever feel like you're going to get choked with a head and an arm, take your elbow and put it in your side. Because that shuts everything down. So Almeida made the first mistake of doing this right here. Because he was wanting to grab my leg and wanting to try and just keep me at bay. So here I am. He did this right here, and I came down, I take my arm, and it goes right across here on the far side. So there I am, I'm underneath the chin, and my forearm, this right here, this big bump, my meat, It's right on the jugular, okay? So then I lock, and when I lock with no thumbs. They always say wrestlers have no thumbs. No thumbs here. And then I take my elbow, and I grab his elbow, and I push it up even farther. So here I am, I lock, and I take my elbow, and I come here. Now I'm under his jaw, and I've got his elbow straight right here. Now all I got to do is take my shoulder, drive down, and grab my arm. And tighten my grip to bring my wrist to my chin. Is it weird? Have you ever felt that before?
I mean, it feels kind of like a north-south, except you're on top of me, so it's also cranking my shoulder.
And I would hope that you could show these guys, but it's just hard to... So the whole time I'm here, I'm really driving my shoulder down and bringing my arms up at the same time. Can I have you come down? Because I think I'm a big believer in it's good to feel things if you want to do things. What are you laughing for? So here I am. Exactly here. Now you see how you've got to feel naked over here. But I had it here, and all I got to do is I'm going to circle around. I'm going to circle to my back. So I'm going to go to my left, and I'm going to pull this elbow up and push down on his neck. It's a weird feel, and it's weird to get people to do that.
Could you just kind of like shrug out?
My brother's in the. This was it. Where was that at? Where was that fight at? Where's my Almeida fight at? Is it Almeida Rivers?
Chill Zone, right?
No.
Chill Zone, Minnesota.
Where's my fight fans at? I don't know. My brother was there. Oh, it was in Oakland, California. You said that? It was in Oakland, California, and as soon as Almeida hit the ground and did this, and I come on top of him, my brother stood up and said, "It's over." Because he knew. He knew it was. I mean, he just. I did it to him several times, so he just. I mean, it wasn't but 30 seconds later, and the fight was over. You know, so he knew as soon as I got locked up that it was going to be over.
That was a shock, man. The punch you dropped him with, I was like, oh, he was hitting hard. And then when he got the choke, I was like, what's he going to do from the headlock? And then he was unconscious.
Yeah,
it looks like a headlock.
And it does, and I always go back to watch the film to see if I can critique myself. And I also like to listen to the commentators. I like Joe Rogan, but most of the time he has no idea what he's talking about. But they really need a guy that's been in there to be the play-by-play guy, not a guy that's never fought before.
So what do you call that move?
Well, I call it just a head and arm choke, for wrestling. But I mean, people call it the what was the wrestler they named it after?
They call it bulldog choke or something.
Bulldog chokes, like you just have the net. That's like what Newton did to go parallel with the guy.
People on my forum call it the pharmaconda. So I don't know. But, so I don't know.
I think we should call it the Matthew special.
So, but one thing I was getting at, I went back and I watched the tape and go all the way down. Almeida's, no, I mean all the way flat. Almeida's here, and when I get done, to get my arm off of him, I brought him up, and he was so out of it, this head just bounced on him. That was cool, he was joking. But I pulled my arm up, and his head just went...
Guys, give it up for Matt Hughes.
Guys, if you're going to start fighting, I always tell, stay in the amateurs as long as you can. Don't take a fight unless you think you're going to win that fight. Some guys, Evan might get in a fight and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to fight Matt Hughes, and if I can last," Evan might think, if I can last a round or two with Matt, then it will make me look good. And I tell Evan, don't take that fight, because try and get a perfect record and get experience with those guys that you're going to beat, because experience played a big role in my career. I mean, I had 15, 20 fights before I even hit the UFC. And most of the guys in the UFC now have 5 or 6. So, I mean, don't take a fight you can't win. Find a good gym that's teaching you everything, or find a couple gyms, wrestling, submissions, striking, and get a good manager. Without my manager, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I don't have a manager now because I can do everything myself, but when I was back in the day, I had somebody lining my fights up for me. Monty Cox was doing good. So without Pat Militich, Monty Cox, and Jeremy Horn doing most of my training, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without those three guys. No doubt about it. So,
All right, so Matt's going to come back here, but I think Mr. Mal